contracts in NDDC are given out to members of National Assembly, but you don't know about it. It's okay.
When you need unbiased information, balanced analysis, reviews, and insight on the policies and programs that concern you, listen to City Talks with Reuben Abati. Be a part of it. Call 0700 1051 1051 to lend your voice on topics and help shape our country for the better.
My name is Reuben Abati. I will be your host on City Talks from noon to 1 p.m. every Saturday. Join me as we dissect major issues of public interest. You will be glad you did.
City Talks with Reuben Abati on your number one lifestyle station, City 1051. From noon to 1 p.m. every Saturday.
Good afternoon and welcome to City Talks on your number one lifestyle station, City 1051 FM. City Talks is your trusted show for in-depth discussions on pressing current political and human interest issues shaping our nation. On this show, we break down current affairs and public issues with clarity and depth. I'm your host, Reuben Abati, and today we will beam our spotlight on critical issues affecting our roads, especially during high traffic seasons. Our major focus is on ensuring road safety this Yuletide season at a time when millions of Nigerians travel to celebrate with loved ones. Joining us to shed light on this important topic is Mr. Olusegun Ogungbemide, a senior representative from the Federal Road Safety Corps headquarters in Abuja, who discussed the challenges that the FRSC will seem to be facing, measures that the organization is implementing to ensure safe travel, and what we as road users can do to support their efforts. Our guest is Assistant Corps Marshal, Mr. Olusegun Ogungbemide, MNI, the Corps Public Education Officer of the Federal Road Safety Corps at the headquarters in Abuja. Now, what is our topic? As the festive season approaches, there is an increase in road travel across Nigeria, leading to a surge in road traffic activity as well as accidents, as you know. The festive season brings about a sense of urgency and excitement, which can impair judgment. Drivers may engage in risky behaviors like drunk driving, ignoring traffic signals, and using mobile phones while driving. There's also the issue of inadequate vehicle maintenance before embarking on long journeys. To provide a context, let's look at the statistics, some of the statistics. According to the National Bureau of Statistics, Nigeria recorded 6,205 deaths from road accidents in 2021. The FRSC reported 6,456 fatalities in 2022. In the first 9 months of 2024 alone, 3,767 deaths were reported, with 1,471 occurring in the first quarter alone. These are reports taken as reported by the Punch newspaper. Historically, the Ember months, September to December, we seem to witness a spike in road accidents. For instance, the third quarter of 2023, there were 1,323 deaths and 9,116 injuries from road crashes. These numbers are alarming and highlight the need for effective measures during the festive season. And indeed, my suspicion is that in a country where data is treated so cavalierly, the statistics may even be worse. The number of deaths may be higher. The figure in terms of fatalities may be even more alarming. But to join the conversation, you can call us at 0700 1051 1051. You can WhatsApp us at 0909 916 4403. And you can also reach out via our social media accounts at City 1051 on Zoom, Instagram, and Facebook. Well, let me, on your behalf, welcome Mr. Olusegun Ogungbemide to this program today. And I'd like to thank you, Mr. Ogungbemide, for joining us today. Thank you very much indeed. Welcome to City Talks with Reuben Abati.
Thank you very much, sir. It's a pleasure to be with you and the audience.
Okay, Mr. Ogungbemide, this is the Yuletide season. There's Christmas. There is end of year. Everybody is in town. People have traveled from everywhere in the world to come and have Christmas in Nigeria with family. People have traveled from one part of Nigeria to another part. People who are going to their villages, people who are looking for fun. So it's all combined. And there's a lot of movement on the road, quite unprecedented. Now, what are the specific challenges that the FRSC is facing during this Yuletide season, as you may have observed, with all the going up and down in the last few days?
Thank you very much, sir. Just like you rightly established when you were relaying out your information as regards the alarming data of road traffic crashes, fatality, is also a disturbing scenario with us here too, because the mandate of Federal Road Safety Corps, as you all know, is to create a safe motoring environment. And a situation where you see high rate of death on a highway, it becomes quite disturbing. We never just started preparing for Ember Month when we enter October. We started the whole preparation right from the beginning of the year in January, where we up our game as regards public education of the motoring public, which happened to be the major strength of the Corps. Or at the same time, we appreciate the fact that no matter how much you give public education without policies and enforcement in place to checkmate the menace on our highway, you might not really be able to hit the target as put in place by United Nations that says we should reduce road traffic crashes, fatality by 50% within this decade. And that's why we've been up and doing in getting all these our efforts harmonized towards reducing rate of road traffic crashes. And so far, according to the record made available as at October, the rate of road traffic crashes was reduced by 12%, while unfortunately, the fatality would not really be said to have the same figure because of some pockets of incidents that claimed more lives, like the incident at Mina, that's Niger State, that claimed more than 50 lives, and the recent one at Jigawa as a result of the tanker explosion, where close to 200 people lost their lives. Though the primary crash never claimed any life, but almost about 24 hours later, due to the inferno, so those people that came out to scoop got that alarming figure to be. So when the Corps Marshal, Sheikh Mohammed MNI, came on board in May, he put up so many issues on table to be able to capture the essence of our mandate. And it came up with 6 policy trusts, which will prepare us for this Ember Month. And that is what we leverage. It came up with rejigging the operational activities of the Corps, where we remove all the commands that are at lungus, if I may put it that way, where their relevance is not really more felt by members of the society, and realign them with the corridor, align the corridor where their relevance will be more appreciated. And this has really brought an increase in our visibility. He also put up a retraining process, because he believes that you cannot give what you don't have. And for a long while, he believed the capacity process of our personnel have really been affected. So right from May till date, he has trained virtually all the operational personnel that are expected to give their operational prowess to what is expected during this season. That's why I'm sure it is a reflection of what you see. Everybody that wants to appreciate what has happened in the last 5 to 6 months will know that there's a new brand FRSC personnel, their disposition to members of the public in the area of civility, and their promptness in road traffic crashes emergency, while they are also up and doing in making sure that the rate of crashes are also reduced by early approach to infractions as put up by some defiant drivers. These are the things that he has put in place. In addition to that, there's also introduction of technology, which is an upgrade to what FRSC has been doing in the past, where we have the newly launched FRSC mobile app, which is a tool in the hand of commuters, because we are trying to, move a little from our traditional motor park rallies during this season. We believe in the last 36 years, we have spoken a lot to drivers. Let us get on board, even the commuters that are going to be moving from one location to the other. Let them serve as the ambassador of FRSC. So the essence of this mobile app is for them to have it as a tool to be able to, while in the course of their journey, have a better understanding, interface with the road with which they are traveling. The road should be able to speak to the drivers and the commuters so that they can align and get to their destinations safely. And these are the little efforts that has been put in place to make sure we create a safe motoring environment within this season. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Ogumemide, I asked you about challenges that you are facing. You didn't talk about challenges. You talk about strategies, about measures that you are introducing. But in terms of challenges, let me take you back to the original question. What are the specific challenges that you face with drivers at this Yuletide season or at any other season, particularly with regard to their behavioral pattern? And what are you doing? You've talked about commuters, what are doing to lighten commuters. How about the drivers themselves?
And, that's why I found that right from the inception of the call, we are on the occasion. Mostly the focus has been on the drivers. We go to motor parks to enlighten the drivers. We have what we call Operation Morning Cry, where our operatives, before they go on the highway, they go to the various motor parks and speak to the drivers and commuters alike. They check their vehicle. That's what we call pre-trip engagement. That this vehicle that is about to engage on this trip, what is the status of the vehicle? They check the tires, check the horn, and we also even encourage the various parks to have their safety manager. So a situation where we are not there, they do engage them. And we've had a series of collaboration with the transport agencies. That's even outside the conventional NURTW that we talk about, the NATO and other union. We have the organized transport agencies, like we don't want to mention the brands here, that we have engaged over the years. That is the reason why we introduced Road Transport Safety Standardization Scheme in 2007, that an unregulated transport sector cannot give the best in terms of safety on our roads. And the introduction of that policy have really assisted a great deal. That means when we are dealing with the transport union, we know we are dealing with organized bodies. And in addition to that, we've been able to reach out to these drivers through all the medias available, either through the newspaper, through handbills, through regular jingles, via the radio, TV. And you agree with me that there's no single establishment today as a media that does not talk about public education to drivers, especially as regards their behavior. Because the major problem we have when it comes to transportation safety in Nigeria is the behavior of our driver. If you are very familiar with Lagos, with Abuja, let me use Abuja, where we domicile here now. Virtually every day you see traffic lights being hidden, and you'll be so surprised that it cut across status and gender. And you wonder, are these people not educated? Were they not trained on the rules of engagement when it comes to driving? And these are the things we experience every day. And that is why the major, outside the issue of enforcement, is to continually educate members of the public on the dangers of infractions that are being...
Okay, Mr. Ogunwemide, I know about public education. That's your job. Your job is to educate people. If you call somebody from orientation agency now, they say public education. If you call somebody from NAFDAC, NDLA, everybody will talk about public education. But what about the impact? I mean, I go onto the roads too. I see how Nigerian drivers behave. Some people are behaving as if they are psychotic cases. And when the FRSC officials engage them, in fact, we have seen videos of even a woman almost beating up FRSC officials. So what is the impact? What is the value of this public education that you talk about? Because one of these days, one woman will beat up some of your officials and nothing will happen at the end of the day.
Something will happen, sir. Because the video we've been on it all with your intervention. I watched the video on Arise and I heard the comment you made. It will go a long way, because when I have the impression that nothing will happen, but something is happening. You agree with me that transportation sector is quite dynamic. Every day we have newcomers. That's why we cannot say, oh, we have done so much, we should go and relax. It's a continual thing. If we talk about enforcement, in the last 8 months, we have recorded more than 500,000 offenders being apprehended throughout the Federation. So when we have this enforcement and public enlightenment going forward, it's only when we drop our enforcement or we draw our public education that we can say maybe we have failed. And by and large, sir, if you look at the vehicular strength of this country, the number of vehicles that are plying our highway in millions, and you relate to where we're coming from, we should be able to ask ourselves, assuming there were no all this public education, assuming there were no enforcement, what would have been the events on our highways? And these are the things we battle on a daily basis. These are the same people that go outside this country and comport themselves and return to Nigeria and say, well, it's free for all. All the necessary policies that are required to checkmate the excesses have been put in place. We introduce a standard way of driving school so that you cannot say, oh, it's from the rudiments. Before it used to be all commerce affairs, but now we have standardized the driving school status. Now we have brought up policies. We even had to go to the extent of curtailing excess speeding by introducing the speed limit device for commercial drivers, which we know to a large extent we have more than 50% success. Enforcement is key, and that is why we are seeking and always seeking the support of members of the public. Even the Western world that we are talking today, that we believe have gotten there, without the buy-in of members of the public, with all these successes we are talking about cannot be there. A situation where there's an apprehension, the next thing you see name droppings, the next thing you see someone calling from outside to say, I'm interested in this person, is my relative. These are that do affect the effort being put in place by this establishment. That's why the Corps Marshal, Sheikh Mohammed, have said, this operation cannot succeed if we cannot assert our authority. So this time around, when you are apprehended, we have activated the mobile court now nationwide. You are taken to the mobile court if you don't want to pay your fines. And these are the bites we want to give in a special way to enforcement this time, in addition to the public enlightenment that we give. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Let me cite a specific example of Lagos about traffic control. President Tinubu is in Lagos for holiday season. You know, he's in Lagos State, Lagos boy. They all call him, and it's at home to observe this season. But yesterday he went out. The other day he arrived. Each time he moves, Lagos is shut down. People have been saying they've been on the road for 6 hours. People have been on the road for 5 hours. In fact, I chose not to go to the studio today out of fear, because I was for about 6 hours yesterday trying to get from one point to the other. And I was looking around, where is road safety? Who is controlling this traffic? Nobody. Even if a particular segment of the road is shut down, because presidential movement is security movement, I should know that. Who else is on the road to, make sure that things are easier for the average Lagosian or the average commuter who is trying to leave Lagos or who is trying to come into Lagos? Now, I think Lagos in the last 3 days presents a special case. Are you going to say that that's not the job of FRSC, it's the job of LASMA?
This has been an area of contention, and you are bringing up a sensitive issue. You agree with me that so many states have always been contending on the status of both highways and local routes here and there, which FRSC has not really allowed to deter its efforts in traffic management even within the states. Naturally, this season, that's from 15th December to 15th January, like I mentioned at the beginning of this program, that we have realigned all our personnel and arsenal towards the corridor of the highway for us to have smooth interstate movements and reduce the rate of road traffic crashes within the highway or on the highway. And you also agree with me that LASMA, that's as regards Lagos State, have been up and doing. And most time when it comes to traffic management in Lagos State, Federal Road Safety Corps believe that LASMA has a capacity to run it through. That's why our emphasis mostly is on the highway. But the presence of Mr. President in Lagos is a peculiar one. We have the Commander-in-Chief, and it demands the support of virtually all the agencies. It could be that the area where you operated, you didn't see, the FRSC men were not visible there. But it's not an indication that they were not in other areas, because it's not possible to have the route lining throughout Lagos. They are managing the highway, and they're also in town to support LASMA and other agencies to make sure there's proper management of the traffic. So one thing that is certain is, while the Mr. President is in town, they're expected to activate all their personnel, all the equipment that are required to make sure that things are easier for members of the public. But where there are little hiccup, I know they are going to rectify that.
Okay, which takes me to the next one, to ask about the quality of interface or collaboration, collaboration between or among the various agencies. Because agencies of government tend to have this interagency rivalry. So if there is proper coordination and collaboration, the fact that the president is in town shouldn't be a problem. There should be the military, the police, the FRSC, LASMA, other agencies coordinating while ensuring security movement, national security for the president, commander-in-chief, also to ensure that ordinary people do not suffer. I suspected yesterday that this is absence of coordination. What is the big deal about controlling and ensuring safety on the roads?
We've gone beyond that in Federal Road Safety Corps when it comes to collaboration with other agencies. We are quite submissive for the sake of the job because I know we have our own areas of vulnerability, and that's why we don't take it for granted. Like, naturally, we operate with the police, we operate with civil defense, and coming down to LASMA, that is in charge of Lagos State, we collaborate with them at the local level. You recall, sir, in the 2023, when you had reason to interview me on Kara Bridge, you saw the number of civil defense that were with me on that day, while the traffic management was actually going on. That has been the stand of FRSC all this while. If there are little itches that you notice this time around, I wouldn't know what must have gone wrong. But for FRSC, we appreciate the power, the strength of collaboration, and we have never derailed when it comes to that. So I would try to confirm from the sector commander Lagos to know what really happened, so that while Mr. President is still in town, whatever that is needful to be done to effectively work with other agencies will have to be done, so that things can be better for the motoring public.
Okay, Mr. Ogunwemide, let me ask about another challenge. These petroleum trucks carrying inflammable material. Now, traffic is so heavy now. Is there any attempt to say, well, you know, people are on the roads, people are traveling up and down. Is it possible to regulate when they carry this, their dangerous, toxic materials? You know, because it can be very frightening. You are stuck in traffic, and next to you is a truck carrying inflammable material, and anything could happen. As the FRC thought of, you know, controlling how these trucks move up and down, and they are struggling with us even on the roads. Some of these roads have potholes.
Thank you, sir. FRC does not really have the power to determine when the vehicle will move.
Hello, I lost that. Hello, Mr. Ogunwemide, are you still with us? Hello? There is a problem with the audio connection there with Mr. Olusegun Ogunwemide. Okay, I can hear you now. Yeah, I think maybe somebody.
So we have so we don't really have the power to determine when a vehicle will move. That's why we have been talking about the issue of night driving, because the bulk of our casualties have actually been as a result of night driving. So if we have the power, maybe we'll have, if we have legally allowed, maybe we'll have stopped it. The same thing goes with articulated vehicles or tankers that are carrying fuel. They try to move at night, and I think the movement, if you look at the series of crashes that have been recorded involving tankers, they happen at night, which really will have assisted in reducing the casualty. And I know where your fear is coming from, remembering what happened in Lagos in 2018 or 19, if I'm right, where we had a great number of casualties and so many properties lost. This has made FRSC to introduce what we call load policy. In all the depots in Lagos, we have our operatives there that check the minimum safety standard of all tankers that are being loaded. Is it the body of the vehicle? Is it the compartment or the status of the driver? Is it the tank itself? There were so many lives that would have been wasted that this policy have assisted in saving. Because at times you see people with conscience coming to load an inflammable item like petroleum with a leaking tank. You see people coming to the depot to load with brake system that are faulty. And these are the things that were in the situation before we introduced the safe to load. The safe to load, you agree with me, when you look at the capacity and the number of tankers that are supplying this country, you can imagine their numbers in thousands. How many have been involved in all these crashes in the recent time? This is as a result of what this policy has assisted in doing for us. So the pockets that we see, although we can't call it insignificant because life is involved, but when you look at the number of tankers that are carrying fuel on thousands of kilometer road network. I appreciate that FRC to a large extent have really done much. Though what we do this time is that we make sure that because the vehicles have to move, when we say it has to be a particular time, the law does not permit, and they still have, we used samples of some major marketers that have been operating for the past 10 years. And a particular one said, in the last 6 years, none of their tankers have not been involved in a crash. We understudied what they did, and we use it as model for tankers. And that is what we have been using as a kind of template that have assisted us in reducing the impact. So most of the tankers, we are going to say the capacity, the status of the vehicle, we have been able to work on it via the introduction of the safe to load. That's why most time you don't see crashes involving them during the day. Maybe at night, they become reckless, or what we also noticed, that when they move these goods, when they use these good tankers to move, they go outside the state and transload them into another vehicle that we might not be able to handle us. And maybe these are the ones that you see getting involved in crashes all over the places.
Okay, safe to load. You say that's the responsibility of FRSC, and you've been doing your best. Now, who is responsible to determine the movement of those, trucks carrying inflammable materials, be it gas or petrol or whatever other imaginable, inflammable material? Which agency is responsible? If you say it's not the FRSC.
It's not FRSC. That could be either the state or federal law. It's not within the purview of Federal Safety Corps. So, and I recall there was a time it was being monitored in Lagos State when they were having challenges with tankers, containers falling, and the state government, out of the passion, and had to call meeting on how we could curtail the movements of these tankers and the containerized vehicles. But I believe the challenge was still the law, because the law does not permit anybody to the free movement of any vehicle.
Okay. Well, Mr. Ogungwemide, where are the hotspots that FRSC has identified during this season, this holiday season? And what precautions will you tell people to take? I mean, I've cited the example of Lagos because I live in Lagos, but there must be certainly other very serious hotspots across the country.
Certainly. Even when you mention Lagos, it's not Lagos Township that we are considering, because like I said, our major concern this period is a corridor that links states, that link towns, where people will be moving from one location to the other. And outside this idea, or this issue of tankers getting involved in inferno or container falling on vehicles, you can hardly see any fatal crash within the township of Lagos because of the traffic volume, with the exception of third mainland bridge during the less peak period. So our emphasis majorly on the highway. And truly we have some flashpoints that has been the interest of the Corps. And that's why the mandate has been given out by the...
Hello. I seem to be losing audio from your end. Hello, Mr. Ogungwemide. Hello. Hello. Hello, Mr. Ogungwemide. I'm not hearing you. Hello. If the engineers are listening, there seems to be an issue with the audio connection with our guest. Hello? Okay, we're trying to sort that out. We'll take a quick break, and we'll take a commercial break, and after that, we'll come back and the program will continue. This is still City Talks with Reuben Abati, and to join the conversation, you can call us at 0700-1051-1051. You can send us WhatsApp at 0909-916-4403, and you can join us on our social media accounts at City 1051 on Zoom, Instagram, and Facebook. We take this short break and we'll be right back. Stay with us.
The contract in NDC are given out to members of National Assembly, but you don't know about it. It's okay.
When you need unbiased information, balanced analysis, reviews, and insight on the policies and programs that concern you, listen to City Talks with Reuben Abati. Be a part of it. Call 0700 1051 1051 to lend your voice on topics and help shape our country for the better.
My name is Reuben Abati. I will be your host on City Talks from noon to 1 p.m. every Saturday. Join me as we dissect major issues of public interest. You will be glad you did.
City Talks with Reuben Abati on your number one lifestyle station, City 1051. From noon to 1 p.m. every Saturday.
Can you hear me, sir? Hello, I'm with you, sir.
So maybe we can come back to it.
Contracts in NDC are given out to members of National Assembly, but you don't know about it. It's okay.
When you need unbiased information, balanced analysis, reviews, and insight on the policies and programs that concern you, listen to City Talks with Reuben Abati. Be a part of it. Call 0700 1051 1051 to lend your voice on topics and help shape our country for the better.
My name is Reuben Abati. I will be your host on City Talks from noon to 1 p.m. every Saturday. Join me as we dissect major issues of public interest. You will be glad you did.
City Talks with Reuben Abati on your number one lifestyle station, City 1051. From noon to 1 p.m. every Saturday.
Welcome back from that commercial break. And for those of you who are just tuning in, we're discussing how to ensure road safety this Yuletide. Challenges and measures by the Federal Road Safety Commission. And our guest is the Assistant Corps Marshal, Mr. Olusegun Ogungbemide, the Corps Public Education Officer of the Federal Road Safety Corps at the headquarters in Abuja. Remember, you can join the conversation by calling 0700-1051-1051. And you can send us messages at 0909-916-4403 or engage with us on our social media accounts at City 1051 on Zoom, Instagram, and Facebook. Mr. Ogungbemide, thank you very much for staying with us. Before we went on that commercial break and we lost audio connection with you for a moment, I was asking you, could you help us identify the flashpoints? And you said the concentration of the FRSC is the highways. Okay, where are those flashpoints that commuters have to be aware of and that the drivers need to be really, really very careful during this season when there is high volume of traffic?
Thank you, sir. Certainly, they cannot be exhausted through this medium, but I'll just mention some because we're able to identify 53 flashpoints nationwide. We call them 53 critical routes.
That means nowhere is safe.
Yeah, but it's normal. It's normal because of the traffic situation. So we rate it so that we can up our games in those areas. We don't want to take any route for granted. But I will just pick some major ones that we always record high vehicular movement during this period. We talk of Abuja-Kano Road. Abuja-Kaduna-Kano Road is a major flashpoint. We talk of Kaduna-Biningwari-Mokwa. We talk of Yangoji, Abuja-Kutunkarufi-Lokoja-Okene, which is a popular one that is always critical within this period. We talk of Abuja-Kefi-Akwanga, Jos, then Lokoja, Auchi, Benin axis for those that are going down the south-south. And for the south, the major flashpoint is always between Benin and Asaba, which takes you across to Onitsha. You know our brothers from the east. When it comes to Yuletide season, is always a very critical route for us. And that is why our deployment is always segregated and prioritized when it comes to movement towards the east. And we talk of Onitsha, Java, Owerri Road, and Enugu, Umaya, Aba, Port Harcourt Road. These are just the few of them that I want to mention here because Ibadan-Oyo-Ogbomoso axis is also there. Is another critical point. Shagamu, Ijebu-Ode, or a toll gate. So we have about 53 of them, and for us to be able to manage them effectively well, the corps in its wisdom decided to create 19 traffic control camps. That's outside our various unit commands. It's like taking the battle to the flashpoint. We have strategic plan camps located in about 15 points. That's outside the 23 F areas that are already situated in some critical areas. Because even these corridors, we still prioritize them. There are some that are more critical than the others. So we have about 19 traffic control points where we have our men that will be on ground to control traffic. Because naturally, even outside the high vehicular movement, there could be crashes, there could be obstructions as a result of broken down vehicles, which they've been given the mandate to promptly remove. And that's why they also deploy about 47 tow trucks in strategic points that can give proximity to other corridors. And we also have 63 zebra points. The zebra points are our emergency response units, where we keep our paramedics that in case there's any crash, under 15 minutes response time, they get to the location and attend to the.
Hello. If there is an issue with the audio connection again, Mr. Ogunwemide. Hello? Well, I see that. Hello, can you hear me?
Okay.
Maybe your phone is interfering with your computer. If you could just keep the phone aside until we finish this conversation.
Yes. I think there's a little distortions here that is affecting us. So I'm trying to manage it.
Yeah. If you can, we just have a few minutes and we'll wrap up. Yes, if you could just go back to the last point you were making. But I also wanted to ask you, so that you can,
yes, sir.
Yeah.
Okay, can I go ahead?
Go ahead.
Yes, sir. I was just trying to talk about the efforts that is being put in place to manage these corridors. That outside identifying the critical corridors and proper deployment, so we have our 19 traffic control camps, which are also, because even the corridors are also prioritized according to the critical nature of the area. We have 19 traffic control camps, and we have 23 F areas. The F areas is locations where vehicles on transit can easily stop to request for help, not necessarily when they're involved in crashes. Assuming your vehicle will develop fault, you can park. The location is good for park. The location is also good for you to relax because some of them even have medical points. As the driver is feeling somehow, he can park there, check his BP before he proceeds on that journey. And even assistance, necessary assistance can also be rendered to the commuters in case there's any need. And the help area also give the commuters the opportunity to report their drivers in case they've been involved in a driver that is reckless, which is our major focus this year. That is the theme for our public education this year, that speak up against reckless driving because commuters die more than drivers.
Okay, Mr. Ogungwemide, we still need to take reactions from people. I mean, the conversation, there are so many angles to it, but people will still have to intervene. But before we take our first caller or the first person, getting involved via social media, let me ask you. Now, I talked about aggressive commuters fighting FRSC officials. About corrupt FRSC officials. The ones who say this is Yuletide season, they can use it because in January, all of us are going to pay school fees. So people are looking for school fees. And FRC officials too will see this as boom time. Is there any place where, citizens who have been exploited, harassed, intimidated by road safety officials can report, lodge a complaint, and say this officer has turned this thing into an attack trade business? Because FROC officials also ask for bribe.
You are very right. You are very right, sir. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes, sir. You are very right. Because one thing that is certain is there's no way you have an establishment like this and you don't have bad heads. We will not deny that. And they are all over the places. But I just want to assure members of the public that Federal Safety Corps has zero tolerance to this. There's no return syndrome in Federal Road Safety Corps. Whatever act of irresponsibility that is being perpetrated on that highway is the man to himself. And we have our means, apart from the various command administration that you can reach out to meet the leadership of that office. You can also speak via the toll-free of 122. It's not just for emergency. When there's any encounter you have that you feel you want to reach out to the management of Federal Road Safety Corps, the call center is 24 hours. People are there to pick your complaints. In addition to that, I just mentioned that the commercial...
What's the toll-free number? What's the toll-free number again?
122.
122. Okay, you have heard. Anybody who is traveling and any road safety official harasses you, just call 122 and report the officer. And make sure you get the name of the particular officer.
Thank you very much for that. Because all of them have their name pasted on their chest. That is why we insist that it's not a pin. It's not detachable. It's permanent there. So they cannot deny that. And also look at the code number of that vehicle. So that you look at the code number and the location and the time to assist us in tackling this better. Because in fairness to the federal government, FRSC personnel are not on any salary. So we don't have justification to be corrupt. And whoever that gets involved in that, the machineries are always on ground to tackle them accordingly. I also want to plead with members of the public, sir, that it takes two to tango. When you are apprehended for an offense, please face the music. Don't compromise our men. The commercial had already spoken. Don't compromise our men. If you are apprehended, face the music. Let the process, the legal process, take its course. And that's why we are advising within this period that certainly, if you don't want to be inconvenienced in the course of your journey while on transit, please do the right thing. Because we are going to have zero tolerance. That's the essence of the theme for this year. Operation Zero Tolerance to Road Traffic Infractions. That is what we are going to have. Operation Zero Tolerance to Crashes. And for us to achieve this, That means we have to up our game in all areas. And part of it is not compromising and not relenting in making sure that people are brought to justice when they place themselves as dangers to other road users. Thank you.
Okay, well, I think at this point we should take commentaries from persons who have been following us on social media and who have been listening to us at home, so that it's not a one-way, conversation from the studio to the point.
Hello.
Who is going first?
Dr. Abati, only of little faith.
Do we have a caller on the line?
Yes, there's a caller on the line. Hello? Hello?
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Do we have someone who is intervening? I can't hear at my
Someone
end.
is calling. Dr. Moses is here.
Studio? Is there someone we have on the line? Okay, while we're waiting for someone to have one or two interventions, Mr. Gugwemide, let me ask you, what recommendations do you have for travelers, for road users, to ensure road safety? Not just at this time, but at all times.
At all times, sir. I always give this scenario that has happened to me severally. Many a times we have reason to complain about the road, which we know we cannot, which the wind is there, is always facing us. And many a times we had rules that does not speak with the road users. That is the reason why Federal Road Safety Corps introduced what we call defensive driving technique. Anytime I fly through a particular road, I always ask myself, thousands of vehicles have passed through this same road without getting involved in crashes. I must make determined efforts to still drive on the same road without getting involved in crashes. Until we're able to do this, we'll be leaving our destiny in the hands of other road users. And that's what defensive driving is preaching against. Be determined right from your takeoff point that I will so drive, putting all traffic regulation into consideration, putting all other road users into consideration. That while I drive my own, I must also assist in driving for others so that I can get to my destination safely. So what is necessary? Now, this period, the impatience is high. We need to be patient. The breaking of rules and regulations are high. And majorly, distracted driving, sir. People making calls while driving. Road users know what you know. Always think on their behalf so that you can drive on their behalf. It's only when you are able to do this. Forget about other issues on ground that we cannot help now. When you know the road to your destination is bad, there are portals. Sure, it's known to us there are portals. Everest has done his own best.
Hello? Hello, Mr. Gugwemide.
Hello?
Again, problem with the audio.
I'm with you. Are you with me, sir?
Okay, please yes, go ahead. I think your phone is linked
yes,
to your system, and that keeps interrupting.
I'm sorry for that, sir. I think it's a distorted network. So be alert to your responsibility as a driver. Think for others. It's only a bad driver that drives his only vehicle. A good driver will drive his own and drive for the other drivers. Who are the three other drivers? The one that is coming ahead, that hits you, you're on a single lane, even dual carriage, don't take it for granted. The one that is driving ahead of you and the one that is driving behind you. You cannot drive for a man that is driving behind you when your side mirrors are not functioning. And these are the issues we have. We see trucks on the highway without side mirror. And I ask, how do this person drive without side mirror? And when they are arrested, they said, I can see. So for you to drive safely within this period, please operate all sense of defense driving so that you can get to your destination safe.
Okay, from Adebega Dedeji, I have this comment. He says the FRSC is only focusing on the drivers and vehicles. We're not talking about the deplorable state of the roads. road users applying every day. Our guest is talking about enforcement. That's good. Let him talk about the bad roads that have become a death trap for road users and what the FRSC is doing about it. One can have all the requirements of the road safety, but still have an accident due to bad roads. Adegboyega Adedeji. What do you have to say to that? What do you have to say to that? I hope you had. And Adegboyega Adedeji. Hello, Mr. Ogungbemide. Hello? Hello? Oh, all of a sudden we have the audio problem again. And I seem to have lost connection with Mr. Ogungbemide. But Dr. Moses, I was told also earlier on.
Yeah, he's back online. Can you hear me now?
To intervene.
Can you hear me?
You see, if you could just go ahead while I'm waiting for
Yeah, can you hear me, Dr. Abati?
Mr. Ogungbemide to join us.
Can you hear me?
Okay, hold
Hello?
on. We have a doctor on the line, and then we'll come back to you.
Hello?
Please go ahead, Dr. Moses.
All right then. Yeah, thank you very much. I've listened to your discussions. Brilliant. Only that as Nigerians we get easily corrupted. I think one major area is the clear definition of all these transport agencies, their roles. Because each time we have interagency disputes, rivalry, and what have you, what they lead to is always catastrophic. What comes to mind, of course, is the 9/11 when CIA wires in from FBI, and you all know what happened. Some of this has happened also in Nigeria. FRSC will not see eye to eye with LASMA, will not see with VIO, and all these people. It's important that their roles are clearly, distinctly defined, their jurisdiction, where you operate, where you can't operate. And in conclusion, I will also advise that, except for FRSC, going by the very important role they play with respect to interstate, maybe they should bear arms, if at a minimum level. I wouldn't mind, because if you apply Nigerian interstate roads, some of the most stubborn beings on earth are the ones you come across. So to an extent, minimal force should be allowed with them. As in, you understand what I'm saying? I think it's even within the discussion in the House of Assembly, maybe they should be bearing arms. Maybe they should consider them for that. And maybe there'll be a bit of sanity on our roads. Ultimately, man will propose. But Merry Christmas. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Moses. That's Dr. Moses there. Let's take Ibrahima, who has joined us all the way from Canada. Ibrahima, please, if we can have him on the show.
Good afternoon. Can you hear me, Dr. Abati?
I can hear you very clearly, and I'm sure Mr. Wimide can hear you.
Okay, thank you very much. I think I like the comment about bad roads, because we can't talk about road safety with bad roads, with potholes all over the place. I must also say that is beyond the purview of federal road safety to fix bad roads. But again, it is a major concern. I see that Abuja has very, very beautiful roads like Pets. Look at the Tomeland Bridge, very beautiful roads. And then if you go to Akwa Ibom State, probably one of the best network of roads in Nigeria. So what is FRSC doing in terms of advocacy, in terms of appealing to the federal and state governments, to fix our bad roads? Because that's the starting point. Most of the accidents on the highways occur when the drivers are trying to avoid the bad spots, the bad potholes, the failed sections. So that's a major issue for me, the bad spots on our roads throughout the country, whether it is a federal government-owned road or state-owned roads. I think there should be more priority about fixing our bad roads. Thank you very much, Dr. Abati.
Thank you, Voice Ibrahima. And then quickly, as we begin to wrap up, let us listen to Hamzatu Sini Kende Ganiyu. Mr. Hamzatu Sini, please, very quickly. And that will be our last, intervention on this program today. Mr. Hamzatu Sini. Hello? Hello?
I am. Are we together?
Hello? Yeah, I'm not hearing you so well.
Are we
Okay,
together?
you are saying?
I am the
Yes, I
Lagos
can
State
hear you
Sector
now.
Commander of the Federal Road Safety Corps.
Lagos State Sector Commander
Of the Federal Road Safety Corps. Since
Mr. Hamzat Hussaini
yes.
Keniganiyu, you are welcome.
Assistant Corps Marshal Ogungbemide, unfortunately, is offline. There are one or two things I could chip in, probably to answer some of these questions.
I'm not online.
Oh, then you can continue from there, sir.
He's back.
You can continue from there.
Okay,
Sir.
I thought you have something to say, maybe an input or question. So I was actually on standby.
Hello, Mr. Hamzat Hussaini. Maybe you can talk about the situation in Lagos, which Mr. Ogungbemide addressed earlier on. Hello?
Yes,
Lagos
sir.
State Sector Commander?
Yes, sir. What I was to say, what I was to impute was the fact that they were saying, what is FRSC doing to ensure that road is very good to ply? We have limitations to construction of road. However, we advise the Federal Ministry of Works and Housing and, of course, the Federal Road Maintenance Agency on quarterly basis, because we do road audit on quarterly basis, and we send our report to them. They attend to those ones they were able to attend to. And I used to tell people, we don't have bad roads, we have bad drivers. Every driver should know a particular portion of the road is bad and drive carefully, in as much as all roads cannot be fixed at the same time. So the bad roads we get to know. We drive safely as good drivers. So many times people claim roads. Yes, the road may be bad, but if the driver is good, it will drive us to safety. That's as per that. As per the corruptive tendencies of road officers, I want to clearly say this, that it is the giver and the taker are culpable. Don't forget, most of these people are recruited from members of the public, and we trained them to shun most of these vices. Among the disciples of Jesus Christ, we have Judas Iscariot. Among that of Muhammad, we have Abu Lahab. So if we still have some of this cankerworm in road safety, that's why the spokesman had told us we have our name tags, we have opportunity of reportage, and of course, there is this FRSC mobile app where many people can explore and report activities as they happen. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Lagos State Sector Commander of the Federal Road Safety Corps. Now, as we wrap up, I would like to invite Mr. Ogungbemide to just respond to some of these issues that have been raised as we begin to wrap up right now.
Thank you very much, sir. As regards the issue of hard roads and in the cause of road traffic crashes, let me burst your bubble, sir. That it took almost how many years to fix Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, and it was quite inconveniencing and alarming that flying on that road became a nightmare. But since that road got fixed, we've recorded the highest number of fatalities due to lack of discipline when it comes to speed. I recall one time I used to use Lekki Ikoyi axis, Lekki Epe axis as an example, and Epe Ijebu-Ode. Epe Ijebu-Ode road was bad, but Lekki Epe road was smooth, and on daily basis we were carrying dead bodies on Lekki Epe road because the road was good. Why people became more careful when plying the Epe Ijebu-Ode road? Because the road was bad. We are not celebrating bad roads. But one thing that I want to correct here is that even the good road has not really helped issue because of the indiscipline of the people that are flying this road. That's why government is trying its best. We are also pleading with members of the public. Let road speak to you. When the road is good, control your speed. When the road is bad, drive with caution. Now, we cannot, like Hamzat said, we don't construct road, but we only give advisory to governments on areas that we have black spots for it to be worked on. At times when you see FEMA trying to patch roads here and there, it's as a result of the reports given by FRSC. It has been working over the years. We all know that the road network in Nigeria is quite huge, but you cannot, because of that, allow yourself to be killed on the highway while government is doing its own. And for the aggression against our men, we continue to plead with them. These people, they have their own children, their fathers, they are just, there's nobody in Nigeria today that will not say it's not related one way or the other to personnel in FRSC. Will you allow them to be killed in the course of rendering service? Let us be decent when it comes to interacting with them. And they should also understand that there's always limits to every civility. When civility is tending towards foolishness, it definitely is not what we can imagine for a long while. So as we are going through this, I want members of the public to appreciate the fact that full deployment has been made between now and 15 and thereafter. And all the necessary personnel that are required to render service to you are be well trained to be able to give the best of their services. And the equipment that are required for emergency are there. But without information from members of the public, you might not be able to get this quick response time. So we want them to collaborate with us. The commanders to be able to serve as our ambassador. That vehicle you are flying inside from one destination to the other, don't keep quiet. Speak up when the driving dangerous.
On that note,
so that it can take you to your destination.
On that
Thank
note,
you very much.
Assistant Commissioner Olusegun Ogungbemide, Public Education Officer of the Federal Road Safety Corps at the headquarters in Abuja. I would like to thank you very much. This conversation has been eye-opening, educative, very informative, and we need to place value on our personal lives and on the lives of others as we apply the roads of Nigeria. No journey is worth reckless driving. Let's make this festive season joyous by staying safe on the roads. And to our listeners at home, as we celebrate this Yuletide, let's indeed prioritize safety, adhere to traffic regulations, and ensure that we all arrive safely at our destinations. Road safety is a collective responsibility. If you have any thoughts or questions, feel free to reach out on our social media platforms. And thanks to all our callers and everyone who called in via Zoom and Facebook. The conversation continues online. You can reach me on Instagram and other social media platforms at Abati 1990. And you can also follow this station at City 1051 on our social media platforms. And for all of you who tuned in late, you can watch the full show shortly on YouTube page City 1051. And when you do so, don't forget to subscribe and leave your comments. And don't forget also to join us next week at 12 noon for another edition of City Talks with Reuben Abati. I'm Reuben Abati, and the show was produced by Kasmi Zuru Mola Uludara, Festus Udemero, Oluwatobilo Samson, and Abiodun Odunton. The executive producer is Adedoja Allen. Have a great weekend. Thank you for listening, and Merry Christmas in advance. Bye for now.
Government, we don't want to make government call down for we.
The same flavor.
Extreme poverty, totally unacceptable.
Same on the edge experience.
Why is it that an average policeman would rather want to work in EFCC than work in SFU? The original department that should be the mother department of the EFCC. We are a very delusional set of people.
City Talks with Reuben Abati.